Hi, I'm Peter Capaldi. I play the Doctor, and you're watching EMS Productions.
Hello everybody, welcome along to today's video where you see from the title I'm going to be picking out my top 5 favourite 12th Doctor stories. I thought, as we've had the news that Peter Capaldi's leaving Doctor Who, and with Series 10 just on the horizon, I thought I'd let you guys know what I think are the 5 best episodes of the last 2 series. So let's get straight in with number 5. Now at number 5 we have Deep Breath. Now Deep Breath for me is a fantastic story. I find that every time I watch it, it sort of grows on me and I like it a little bit more. Obviously it was Peter Capaldi's first story as the Doctor, so a sort of introduction story to the new Doctor and how Clara would react to that throughout the story. It's an extended story, 75 minutes, so it's certainly pretty much the longest story we've got for New Who so far, and I just find it's a really sort of a great way to introduce the Doctor, where obviously you get the usual, he doesn't quite know who he is, or sort of he's a bit crazy and mad, and then all the interesting stuff about, is he a good man, did he actually kill the robot and everything, and I like the sort of plot with the robots, or the android dude, Clockwork Droid, that was it, dude. He was quite a good, it was an interesting enough villain to sort of keep the story going, but obviously the main focus of it is all around Peter Capaldi and his, him becoming the Doctor and how we'd all react to that. Him sort of going a bit crazy off all over the place and everything. I just find it very enjoyable and very interesting to have a different sort of regeneration story and a different sort of Doctor as well, because he's such a big change from Matt Smith and the 11th Doctor. And interesting to see how Clara reacts and has to cope with that and understand that. And I think this episode does a really great job of giving us sort of her not really accepting him as the new Doctor initially. Obviously Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor, coming and giving her a phone call at the end does kind of help it along there. Which I like that scene. I think that's a good one to sort of end it on. It worked kind of perfectly because she slightly loved the 11th Doctor, and so for him to just say that it really is me, the same man and everything, and that just sort of pushed them all along a bit and was just a really nice ending to the story. But overall I think it introduces the 12th Doctor very well and shows off Peter Capaldi immediately as a great actor and everything, and I find, yeah, as every time I watch it, I love it a bit more. Now coming in at number 4 is another choice from Series 8, one of my favourite stories from Series 8, which is Mummy on the Orient Express. Now this was immediately from the first time I watched it, was pretty much my favourite episode of Series 8. I just found the sort of mummy, the plot of this story, I just really enjoyed it every single time I watched it. Jamie Mathieson, I think, is a brilliant writer, and he proved it straight away this was obviously his first ever story for Doctor Who, and went straight in there with an absolutely brilliant one, and then followed it up with Flatline, which is another really strong story. This one obviously focusing on this weird mummy on the Orient Express in space, and how it's gradually sort of killing off all the crew and people, and then this mysterious villain of Gus, and how he's sort of assembled all these scientists and clever people to try and sort of solve the mystery and everything, and obviously blow them all up at the end is always the plan. And I really enjoy this sort of plotline. I love Frank Skinner as well with his character of in the story. I really sort of enjoy him and Peter Capaldi and their sort of interactions between each other. And it's also interesting following again the story with Clara, because obviously Clara was quite a big part of Series 8, probably too much in some people's opinions, but it was great to have sort of follow that story after they'd all fallen out at the end of the previous episode and everything, and then for them to make up by the end of it, and just sort of, yeah, that was one of the really good parts of it. And again, also with Capaldi, I thought he was really, really good in the story, and it's also showed kind of his darker Doctor, more serious side, where he was willing to sacrifice people to save people, essentially, whereas in the past I think the 10th and 11th Doctors maybe wouldn't have done that. So it very much sort of showed how different a Doctor he was, that he was willing to sacrifice people to try and solve the problem. And I always love his line when they're sat on that lovely looking beach at the end of the episode, where he just says, sometimes the only choices we have are bad ones, but you still have to choose. And it's just sort of saying, sort of for life, that sometimes there isn't a good option out of something, but you've still got to make a choice and make a decision, and that was what it was for the Doctor, either let people die or let people die, really, were about the only options there. So I thought that was really brilliantly done through the story, and hats off to Jamie Mathieson for absolutely nailing it with his very first story. Now in at number 3 we have the two-parter, the opening two-parter of Series 9, The Magicians Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar, which I personally think is a fantastic story. I know it's had a fair bit of a mixed reception. I mean, I will admit that the first part definitely isn't as strong as the second part, and obviously there's lots of sort of thoughts about what was the focus of the episode, right? Because it's a Davros story, it's not a Dalek story, just like Genesis of the Daleks is a Davros story, not a Dalek story. It's just got lots of Daleks in the background that don't do much killing, really, which is obviously put some people off because you're not seeing loads of Daleks and they're not doing any killing or anything like that, which can disappoint people a bit, I know. But I personally absolutely love this story. The scenes between the Doctor and Davros are absolutely stunning. They really are. There's lots of long scenes between them with brilliant dialogue, all this stuff about Davros trying to trick the Doctor, but the Doctor's actually already tricking Davros, and all this little sort of undercutting each other. It's so brilliantly done there. And obviously on the other side of that, you've also got the Clara and Missy relationship, and those two playing off each other perfectly through the episode, and being forced to work together, and sort of Missy almost trying to kill Clara because she's just a bit nutty and hates the Doctor and everything. Well, doesn't. She loves the Doctor or something. But no, I just find that all really brilliantly done. Obviously, there's some less strong moments. Obviously, the stuff with the tank in the first part maybe isn't that great, and also the stuff where it goes around all the planets, or Colony South goes around all the planets, is a little bit sort of slow to get going, I think you might say. But to have that as the opening episode of the series, sort of with that first sort of pre-title sequence with the young Davros and the 12th Doctor out on the battlefield, and then when we say he's Davros and the Doctor leaving behind, it's just a brilliant way, I think, to open a series. It's absolutely brilliantly. And obviously the cliffhanger at the end of episode 1 is just crazy. I've said it before, it's my favourite cliffhanger ever, pretty much, because it's just like the opening episode to a series. You kill off Missy, you kill off Clara, you blow up the TARDIS, and you have the Doctor about to kill Davros as a child. Couldn't get much bigger of a cliffhanger than that, I would say. So that is certainly one of the things that really pushes it up for me. But just the second episode with Witch Familiar is just brilliant. All the visuals on Skara and everything, it looks absolutely stunning. And I just love those episodes. Coming up at number 2, just missing out on the top spot, it's Face the Raven. Sarah Dollard's opening story for Doctor Who, the 10th episode of Series 9, where we see the departure, seemingly, of Clara Oswald, where she supposedly dies, and that's very much the strongest part of the episode. I mean, that last scene really does push it up. This is very much sort of not focusing on Hellbent and how it affected the last episode. I mean, Hellbent isn't terrible, I don't think it's terrible, but obviously I'm not sort of factoring in, I'm just taking this story purely as it is. And there's the brilliant plot with the Shielders turning up and them sort of keeping all the aliens on this trap street and all hiding them all there. And because Rigsy being framed for a murder he hasn't done and all this kind of thing. And then ending up just trying to drag, and Shielder essentially trying to drag the Doctor and Clara into it to get them there to try and solve the mystery, and then still, because she's somehow involved with Time Lords and everything. And just following all that through right to the end where obviously we get rammed down the throats the whole Clara's becoming like the Doctor. And it all goes a bit wrong at the end when she does become like the Doctor, but isn't very good at it, I think you would say. And then those last 10 minutes are just painfully sad, but absolutely stunning. It's so brilliantly written and acted. Those last 10 minutes between the Doctor and Clara when she dies, goes to her death, and sort of accepts it kind of thing. It's absolutely stunning, and it really is what pushes this episode up to number 2 for me more than anything else, because it really is just an incredible scene. Even if it is a sad one, it's a stunning scene. I mean, I can't sort of state enough how good Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman were in those scenes between the two of them. The dialogue is just brilliantly written. It's so perfectly done and so perfectly leads into the next story as well, with Doctor properly ragey and angry about it all, heading into the last couple of episodes. And he really is. You can really tell it's the proper angry 12th Doctor. He is seriously angry about what's just happened, and he's going to go and do everything he can to try and get Clara back. Which obviously he does, and that turns out well. But yeah, those last few minutes just makes the story for me, and really does push it up as probably some of the best moments of the 12th Doctor. And finally, coming in at number 1, I'm sure for anybody who watches my channel or has watched a fair few of my videos will probably know what's about to come. It is, of course, Heaven Sent. It couldn't be anything else, let's be honest. For me, and I know for a lot of people, this is very much one of the best Doctor Who stories ever, if not the best story ever. Peter Capaldi is absolutely unbelievable in the story. It's 55 minutes of him walking around a castle on his own, but it's absolutely captivating and stunning. because of his brilliant acting. Stephen Moffat's perfect script. I mean, yes, there's a lot of arguments about a lot of his scripts can be iffy and lots of plot hole, blah 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 blah, but I think very few people could fault this script for what it does. It is just absolutely brilliant in every way. The direction is brilliant from Rachel Talalay. Murray Gold's music is brilliant. Everything combines to create such a great story, and it's just such a sort of great feeling of the Doctor sort of having his grief sort of let out in this castle, this torture chamber for him, which is centred around, and then the torture that he goes through to try and get Clara back and get to Gallifrey through the 4.5 billion years of breaking the Byzantium wall, or Asbantium even, not Byzantium, that's something else, the Asbantium wall, and how brilliant that's written and edited as well, with the just repeat sequences in Groundhog Day style and everything. It just works so perfectly in every regard. I really can't sort of say enough. Do check out my review of it. I mean, I just did this for 50 minutes basically, saying how amazing it is. It's certainly worth a watch, I would say, if you love a Heaven Sent, that is. If you don't, obviously don't watch it. But no, I just can't really state enough how great this is, and then obviously ending with the cliffhanger of the Doctor's back on Gallifrey and everything as well. He is the hybrid, blah blah blah. It's just, I just can't fault it at all, to be honest. It's just absolutely stunning, and it's not the sort of episode you could watch every day. It's not that sort of an episode, but it is absolutely amazing. There are sort of episodes that are less good that you could watch more often, because it's quite a serious story, Heaven Sent. You kind of need to watch it in the sort of sequence of episodes to really get the full effect of it, and maybe to some degree forget how Hellbent happened, but that depends on your opinion of it. And yeah, I just can't say enough how stunning it is, and how this really sort of helped to make Peter Capaldi my Doctor so much, and why it's going to be so painful to say goodbye to him at Christmas time. Hopefully he'll have the opportunity to have lots more performances like he did in this episode, because it was just so brilliant. I really just hope he gets more opportunities to do that in the future. And well, there we go. That's my top 5 list of the best Peter Capaldi 12th Doctor stories. I mean, I absolutely love the 12th Doctor and the 12th Doctor series overall. Series 8 is a little bit iffy, but Series 9, I could have included most of the series on the list, to be honest. So it was a hard list to be able to narrow down to just these 5 choices, and there are so many other stories that I didn't mention that I absolutely love from the 12th Doctor. So do let me know below, what are your favourite 12th Doctor stories? Or do you just take them all, or whatever? Just let me know, give me a top 5. I'd love to see it, and then we can have a little chat about it in the comments and everything, and I always love to do that. So do let me know what you thought of this video, what your favourite stories are, like the video, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you again very soon for another video. Goodbye.